scary! I don't mind the horns at all!
So, we're okay now, are we?
I don't know about you, but I don't think a deer can do that. In fact, I can prove Nokotan is not a deer at all. That's right, everyone. Your favorite deer is actually... Hello, everyone. I'm that anime theorist, Jordan. And today we'll be diving into the newest anime everyone's been fawning over, My Deer Friend Nokotan.
Why are you so tied up with the deer thing?
Okay, I got it. You can eat me.
I'm not gonna eat you!
My Deer Friend Nokotan begins with Torako Koshi, the most popular and beautiful girl in school, who, in a chance encounter, rescues a half-deer, half-girl hybrid hanging from power lines. Soon after, the girl transfers to her school and ropes Koshi into all sorts of deer-related antics, under the threat of exposing her delinquent past.
Delinquent me? What are you talking about? Could you please not make false allegations?
My instincts are telling me you're delinquent, miss.
Are you a wild beast?
From making Koshi president of the Deer Club to creating a fake deer religion, Nokotan persists in including Koshi in her deer-related antics, often leaving Koshi heavily embarrassed.
Please, please, don't make me give you any more.
Why are you acting like I'm extorting you or something? And for crackers of all things? My bad.
But after reading the manga and watching a few of the released episodes, something felt off. Nokotan constantly pushes to maintain her identity as a deer, whether it's through creating a deer club, constantly eating deer crackers, or the random deer that appear throughout the show. But from time to time, we see her do things that are impossible for a deer to accomplish, from throwing antler grenades to opening up her own head. After comparing Nokotan to the average deer, I discovered she's not just a deer, she's something much, much more sinister. So grab a bucket of deer crackers, lower your antlers, and let's charge into it. Now before we start pointing antlers, let's give Nokotan the benefit of the doubt and examine the evidence for her deerhood. One of the first deer traits we see Nokotan exhibit is the ability to smell delinquency.
That's preposterous!
Oh, really? And I can smell it.
While this may seem crazy, it's actually backed by reality. According to the urban deer complex, deer avoid danger and hunters, using sense to recall past experiences. With that in mind, it's possible Nokotan had a poor encounter with some delinquents in the past, and Kiyoshi still emits a similar scent, allowing her to easily pick Kiyoshi out of a crowd and determine she's a threat. Alright, what other deer traits does she exhibit?
How about I give you all my distance once then?
You can take those off?
While it is common for deer to shed their antlers, the process typically occurs in the winter months between January and March. Even if we were close to winter, that doesn't explain how she resets the antler back into place so easily. So while that may have been a nod to real deer science, it certainly isn't realistic. Another unrealistic trait is her incredible antler growth. In the manga during the Deer Club livestream, Nokotan's antlers began to grow significantly, to the point where her antlers pooled to the floor, creating stacks of antler bone, and after a while, they even became sentient. While this isn't 100% realistic, it nods to the fact that deer antlers are some of the fastest growing tissues on Earth, growing 1.5 inches a week. But what we really need to know is, do deer really eat crackers? While I can't necessarily speak for all deer, the deer of Nara Park in Japan certainly do. Deer crackers are sold at the park for tourists to feed the deer. These domesticated deer are not only world-renowned for bowing, but are also sacred to the people of Japan, as they're deemed helpers of gods. The author fits in several references to Nara Park, such as the punishment of living in Nara Park, Nokotan referencing friends who live in the park, and her love of deer crackers. With all the references and similarities aside, we see far more that can't be easily explained by being a deer. To save Koshi, she turns her antler into a grenade that blows up part of the school. She stores bananas and other items inside of her antlers, like a pencil case, and Nokotan can literally remove 30% of her head using the space to store grass and other deer cookies. Last time I checked, deer can't do any of this. So then what exactly is our deer friend Nokotan? What if I told you Nokotan has never been a deer? And no, I'm not trying to do some lame retorts claiming that she's a reindeer or elk. I believe Nokotan is something much darker, creating fantastical illusions to distract Koshi from the fact that she's avidly working to drain away her life energy. That's right, I believe Nokotan is a kitsune. Now I'm sure everyone is a little confused.
Is he crazy? But a kitsune is a fox. What the heck is a kitsune?
I understand your concerns. Nokotan clearly has antlers and often addresses herself as a deer, so she has to be a deer, right? Well, let's learn a little bit more about kitsune before we fall back on old logic. Kitsune, or fox spirits, have deep roots in Japanese folklore and are often notorious for being shapeshifters. Already you can see where I'm going with this. Nokotan is clearly shapeshifting into a deer to hide her true identity. While Nokotan may have some threatening moments, she often hides her true intentions and downplays it with adorable incompetence. But surely not all my evidence is just speculation that she's a spirit turning into a deer. These mythical creatures are known for their mythical abilities, from shapeshifting to casting near-realistic illusions to manipulating time and space. Traditionally, kitsune have between 1 and 9 tails, which determines how powerful their abilities are. Single-tailed kitsune can simply shapeshift, while 9-tailed fox spirits have nearly unlimited powers and abilities. A 9-tailed fox spirit? Where have I heard that before? I can't remember. Anyhow, kitsune can either be good or bad spirits, or moibu or nagatsune. Moibu are benevolent spirits and are typically a sign of a good omen. Nagatsune, on the other hand, are malicious in nature, similar to Loki from Norse mythology. Not necessarily evil, but more like mythical pranksters. Not inherently evil, but a mythical prankster. Who do we know like that? Thinking about it, Nokotan has never really been Koshi's friend in a traditional sense. Nokotan works hard to poke fun at Koshi with an impromptu game show, convinces Koshi on multiple occasions that she's dead, and frustrates her by convincing people she's a deer god. But after watching a few scenes, I started to question, what if this was actually happening? And no, I'm not gonna pull and everything was a dream all along. I'm being serious. If Nokotan is really a kitsune, then she can manipulate people's perceptions and even control minds with ease. That's why I believe events like her first appearance at Koshi's school and the game show are entirely fabricated by Nokotan's kitsune powers. Well, I shouldn't say entirely, because I believe that there are people in these situations who aren't illusions. Take Taranko Koshi's sister, Anko Koshi. When we first met Anko Koshi, she seemed to be a classic representation of a sister complex, but after watching a bit closer, I noticed something off.
Cut it out, Anko! What are you doing? Why aren't you at your school?
There! Did you see that? This is something that Taranko Koshi has never seen out of her sister. Either her sister recently went through a massive behavior shift, or she is likely under the influence of Nokotan's powers. I believe in using real elements like controlling Koshi's sister or having her attend real classes is how Nokotan can keep up her shenanigans for so long. Now, it's not like Koshi does not start to realize that there are illusions at play. Koshi questions on multiple occasions whether she's seeing what is actually happening.
Let's get this ball rolling!
Isn't the stage a bit too authentic?
But over time, Koshi refuses to reject her reality and becomes more and more complacent with Nokotan's antics. Partially because Nokotan can also create conflict where she's not directly involved, manipulating others to create conflict for Koshi. But more likely, the explanation is much more depressing. Because Nokotan can always hold her delinquent status over her, Koshi will agree to do whatever crazy thing Nokotan's up to, as she's more comfortable knowing her secret is safe. Koshi is willing to bear the uncomfortable situation she's put in, knowing it's better than her reputation being ruined, giving Nokotan the ability to run rampant over her life and do anything she pleases. But then why? Why do any of this? Because why not? For the same reason that Loki creates chaos, a kitsune creates chaos as well, because it's within their nature. Nokotan was born to seed chaos. Her only goal in life is to create conflict. And in this case, Nokotan creates illusions where Koshi is constantly embarrassed, frustrated, or confused, often just for her own enjoyment. And if you enjoyed this theory and want to see more on smaller anime, be sure to check out my video on Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto, where we investigate the secrets behind anime's perfect man. And with that, stay curious.